trick of technology. Come on. Trick of technology.
So the first thing you're going to want to do when you are doing a cut line is, for this purpose, is to go to Window, Workspace, make sure you're on Essentials Classic and reset Essentials Classic. That way your workspace will look the exact same as mine. The other thing you're going to want open is under Window, open up the Pathfinder tool, and we're going to use this one, so I'm just going to put it over here to use later on. So to make a cut line, this is a graphic that I've drawn up, or I want to outline. Make sure that it's not a box, so you actually have an outline around the outside of it. The first thing I'm going to want to do is to create a copy of it, and the reason for that is simple, because we're going to destroy this one. So for this one, I'm just going to expand this out and pathfind it all together. And you can see there, now I'm left with an outline. Let me just do that. Another way you can do that is to go to Object, Expand. You can do this with text as well. If you've got a font that you need to outline, or you can do this with text. But we're going to go to Object, Expand. Sometimes, don't ask me why, you have to do it twice. But then we're going to pathfind it all together. And you can see there I've got an outline. You just want to watch for little issues like that. That was a line there, but essentially now what I've got is an outline. I'm just going to assign that a colour for the moment. Alright, so we've got this green outline that we're going to cut, and that's going to cut around the outside of this shape here. I'll just make it a bit heavier so you can see what's going on. Okay, so basically the Roland mill will cut on this line, but only if you assign a particular swatch to it. So to load up the swatch that you need, I'm going to go to the swatch panel. I'm going to go to the little hamburger on the side here, the 3 lines, and I'm going to go to Open Swatch Library and another library. You should have access to this. I've saved it on your USB, but for this one I've just put it here for me to find. It's the RolandVersaWorks.ai file, and you open that from inside Illustrator. When you do that, you'll see you get this panel here. This panel here has a couple of different colors. It's like a cut contour. This one here is the cut contour. This one here is to print white on particular printers. This one's to print gloss. This one's to print metallics. Clearly the one we want. I'm making sure I'm on the stroke color, and I'm going to assign it this pink color. It's not going to print pink, but it is going to tell the printer to cut on that line. I'll just get rid of the white fill on here. Alright, so now that we know we've got the Roland VersaWorks swatch assigned to that stroke, that will then cut around the outside of this line. The problem is, and I'll just make this really thin, when the printer is printing, let me grab that. When the printer is printing, it actually prints first and then it comes back and cuts. Now if you're doing a big print, sometimes what will happen is, I'm just zoomed in to show you this, when it realigns itself to cut, it actually offsets by a little bit. Now what that'll end up being is, if you're printing on white paper, is you will see this white sort of shadow line around the outside of what you don't want to be what you want to be black. So what we're going to do here, we're actually going to create another copy of this here. So Command Copy and Command F, which is paste in front, and then I'm going to add some stroke to the outline of this, and I'm just going to make it black, same color. Now you'll notice on the corners of this, the stroke's a bit weird. So under the stroke options, I'm going to go to the hamburger to show the stroke options, and I'm going to go to rounded corners, and you'll see there I get much nicer corners on it. Now, to help you understand this a little bit more, I'm just going to change that to a different color again. Okay, so now I've got a stroke that's slightly wider. Now that stroke is only an effect that's applied to that color. I'm just going to go to this again and go to Object, Expand. And sometimes you have to do it twice. There we go. Don't ask me why. And then I'm going to pathfind that all together. Now you'll see there, by doing that, and I'll just bring object arrange, bring to front. By doing that, what I've done is I've made that green, by outlining it a bit thicker, I've made the outline a little bit wider than what I actually want to cut. So when I get this here now, and I'll go object arrange, bring it to front, when I align all of these, middle and center, you'll see when I zoom in that the pink cut line is actually sitting on the black line. So I'll show you this now. You understand that? I'm just going to turn this black as well, same color as the background. Okay, so when I cut that now, if the pink, let me just realign those all again. When I cut that, if this offsets a tiny bit, you'll see that it's not cutting white. It's a really good one to know. So that's if I want like to make sure and guarantee that it's not cutting a little bit of white. So that's a really good trick to know. The other thing I'm going to show you here is sometimes on a sticker, let me just delete that one. So sometimes on a sticker you want a bit of a white border. So I'm just going to go object, create a copy of it. I'm going to object expand. And then pathfind that all together. So I get the outline. This time I'm going to give it a nice big stroke. I'm going to round off the corners again. I'm just going to make it thinner for this purpose here. And no fill. Okay, so I'm making this nice and thick. And I'm so you can see here, I'll just send that to the back. You can see here what I've ended up with is a nice big thick border around the outside, much thicker than the last one, because this time I don't want to cut there we go. Now this time, as you can see, it's much thicker. I'm going to expand this out, object expand, to get rid of the effect off the stroke, and then pathfind it all together, and you'll see that creates an outline. Now you see there's some voids in here. I'm just going to double click and isolate that and delete it. Perfect, because otherwise it may cut there. Alright, now I'm going to give that the Roland stroke again, and this time when I align the two, so slightly different sort of sticker, and you'll quite often want this, and I'll give it some white, I'll give the background some white fill so you can actually see what I'm talking about. When you print on white paper, these stickers, when they come out, will actually have that white border around the outside, which is sometimes what you want as well. So two different effects. One is cutting right on the edge of the sticker and just making sure that the cut doesn't bleed outside of the lines that you want. And the second thing I've done there is to have a white border around there, around the outside. So I'm just going to get rid of the white fill there and align center and middle. Now another thing to remember when you are printing on the sticker cutter is if your artboards are huge, say you've been working on an A4 page and it's floating in the middle of the page, you want to bring the artboard in, and that's the adjust artboard tool just here. You want to bring the artboard in right to the edge, because if you're doing multiples of these, there's going to be massive gaps in between it, and when it saves, it prints the entire page. So you can just adjust the artboards once you've finished with the final sticker. You can delete anything from outside the artboards, like so. And last thing, we're going to go File, Save As. I'm going to save this to your folder, and we're going to call it Mohican Sticker version 1, and make sure it's saved and as an Adobe PDF, and VersaWorks can actually read that. And that is ready to print, and that particular sticker will print with a white outline around the outside.
You know what you came to do. Put 'em up, come on, put 'em up, come on. It's the trick, technology.